Good afternoon, everyone. Today is the obligatory memorial of St. Charles Lwanga and companions, these wonderful men who stood up for the faith and ultimately died for the faith. Today, I would like to give a little tutorial about reopening our churches for public worship or public mass. You know, this weekend, June 6th and 7th, with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, the parishes of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia may open this weekend, and we have decided that we will be one of those parishes that do. So here in St. Mary's in historic Schwanksville, our masses that will be public this coming weekend will be the 4 p.m. on Saturday. That is the anticipated Mass for Sunday. And then on Sunday, it will be the 9 a.m. and the 12 noon. So I just want to tell you that, first of all, this will be the only entrance, the front doors of our church. And the reason why that's the only entrance is because we have ushers going to be back here to help seat you, almost like a wedding. But we do that because you know why? This way we can see how many pews are available and how many seats to each pew. Because if everyone just came in and sat where they wanted to, the ushers could not identify which is open and which is not. So we thought it would be better if everyone would come through the front door. Is that okay? If you come through the front door, and then just please be careful to have a 6-foot distance between you as you wait. I don't know how many of you are coming to the 4, 9, and noon, but we have ushers for each of those masses that will greet you. And if you won't mind, would you please wear a face mask when you come into church for your protection and for the person who wants to worship. So we're trying to be respectful of everyone because many people are very adamant that they make sure that everyone wears a mask. Because people who come to public worship don't want to be near people who don't have one. So maybe you don't believe in it. Maybe you think, no, it's not necessary. Well, in charity, can I ask you a favor just to do it for people who do think it's, that do think it's necessary, because this is a public place of worship and we don't want anyone to be upset with another person when they come to church. So I asked you in charity, even if you don't agree with it, would you do it for the sake of the good of the whole group and do it out of love and out of charity? Thank you so much. So this is the front door of the church, and you'll be greeted by a usher, and they will take you into the church. Now there'll be some pews that are open, and there'll be some pews that will be roped off. They'll take you all the way up front, and they'll be starting from the front back, filling up all the pews, okay? So we'll use all the banks of the pews. So the large bank on the Blessed Mother side, all the way down, then the center nave of the church on both sides, and then that little section by St. Joseph after the music area, that will be used as well, okay? And they'll take you up and they'll seat you. Now, if you're with your family, you're all together. You don't have to be 6-foot distance between one another, right? But if there's a person coming into your pew, they have to be 6-foot distance from you. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's go into church. Well, you'll be surprised when you come back into church that the church has been painted. Isn't that wonderful? I said, so when you come back, you'll be seeing the church entirely painted, and you'll see some of the men here working on our church right now. As you know, through your kindness, your generosity, and your prayers, we got a lot accomplished. We have the entire roof replaced. Yay! We have, can you get up here? Any pieces of wood that were deteriorating or saturated were replaced. You can see a lot over there. So after the roof was replaced and the layers of that roof, we had to make sure in here anything was removed that were completely saturated or damaged or compromised. All the other beams have been checked and they passed with flying colors. Do you believe that? I think that's the Blessed Mother watching over us as well. So outside also, between the layers of the roof and that kind of material it's a unique material on top of the roof, don't you think so? But it's beautiful. We're all dry in here. Yay! And the parapet on top of the front entrance, you know, Mary's crown, all replaced. Looks beautiful. The limestone replaced, all beautiful. Remember, it was crumbling. Remember, since '84, it was not really a good batch, and we had to replace it, and we did. Beautiful. All the pointing and the caulking, all done. So outside, the gutter system replaced. Isn't it beautiful? All that has been done. And then we had the entire church, anywhere where it was, of course, cinder block or compromised with, I don't know how to describe this, but windowsills that had that like flaky snow like appearance on it, or because of the water, that was all scraped and all replastered, and all the side vestibules, all that was looked at. The sacristy, any area of our church, we looked at everything. So that was replastered. You saw that. Remember when you came into church and you saw that dark navy or almost looked like black, and you were all like, oh, what was happening? Did Father lose his mind? No, Father didn't lose his mind. Oh, sometimes I feel I do. But what happened is they needed to do that to make it, it's a sealant. It's a sealant because no moisture could come in. And they did that. And they know what they're doing, right? These guys do this for a living. They know exactly what to do. And then they plastered all that. And then after that was all done, that portion of the project, then the painters come in. And that's where we are now. So I believe maybe 99.9 will be done by Saturday at 4 o'clock. So you'll see your parish church, my parish church, our parish church, beautiful, beautiful. So all that is being all repainted. There's a couple areas that we did not repaint, and that is after they plastered, and that is the choir loft, because we're not there yet, because there'll be a lot of construction, and the old script room. In addition, we didn't have to go to the cry room because the cry room is all carpeted. That will be the staircase going upstairs to the loft. Well, anyway, I just wanted to fill you in just to tell you, when you come into church, you'll be very pleased of how it looks. Thus far, do we have a ways to go? Yes, but poquito poquito, little by little, right? As the Italianos say, little by little. Rome wasn't built in a day, neither was Schwanksville. So let's just do little by little and we'll get it done. Because the next thing we're looking at is the floor to be replaced, okay? And then we have to put all of our Wi-Fi in and all that, but you know, they tell us which is the next thing on the list that goes in order. Because there's a lot of things, but I have to follow the sequential order of it, because the knee bone is connected to the foot bone, all that kind of stuff. You have to be careful which one goes next. You just can't randomly say, well, let's do that. Okay, so we're just taking it. Thank you for your pledges. Thank you for your additional donations. We're almost there. If you can you help us a little bit more? Because we're almost there, but we're not there yet. And we have a lot of work to do before we get to the 100th anniversary. Yay! All right, thank you. So we're in church now, and so they're seating you, the ushers, right? And so if you're in a pew, aren't these big pews? They're long pews. So if you're with your family, you just stay together. You don't have to distance yourself. But let's say here I come in and I'm not part of your family or your household. I'd rather use household because we're all a family, right? So if I'm not part of your household, I have to make sure there's 6 feet before the next person. So can I sit here? Sure. and if that's all taken. But I want you to be conscious of the fact to go to the middle if you can. You know why you go to the middle? Because when people come in, you know Catholics, they come in late, right? So that's, I'm not trying to like change anything because I've accepted things. You just accept things. Not everyone comes to Mass early. And you don't know what the reason is, so see? Not saying a word. You don't know what the reason is. But if you're early, I'm going to ask you also in charity to move to the middle of the pew. Why? Well, you know why. People have to come in late and they need a social distance. So it's going to be more of a distraction if we don't go to the middle early on. It'll be a much distraction. So please do that in charity for your brothers and sisters who want to worship at Sunday Mass. Thank you. So that's the seating arrangement. Having one of these on, please, out of charity for the person that's near you. And then just to be 6 foot distance, not with your family though. And then Mass will begin. I'm going to show you where we'll be coming out of for Mass, okay? We'll be coming out right here, and we'll go right to the center. We won't go down the side aisle and up the center aisle. No, we'll come right out of the sacristy right to here. Just like the 7:30 Mass on Sunday morning. You guys who are 7:30 Massers, you know how that works, right? We come out the side door by St. Joseph, come right here to the middle, make an act of reverence to the Blessed Sacrament, and then we go and take our places, okay? So that's how we'll do it for 4, 9, and noon. We won't have a elongated procession. We'll have a short procession, okay? And Mass will go on as usual. Peggy Hinson, our head sacristan, will be our reader and our server. Deacon Don will be here. Of course, he preaches the first Sunday of the month. So guess what? This is the first Sunday of the month. Deacon Don will be preaching at the Masses this weekend. And then Father Keen and I will celebrate, and the 4, the 9, and the 12. So it'll be divided among the 2 of us. So I just want to tell you also, there will not be an offertory procession, you know, with the bread and the wine in the middle of the church. No, it will be already placed on the credence table up front here, okay? So you don't have to worry about the water and the wine, all right? Also, I just want to tell you that the time for Holy Communion, that's going to be a little bit different, okay, for Holy Communion, because Holy Communion, I will be giving out Holy Communion or distributing Holy Communion here at the center aisle, okay? Now, this is the difference here. The ushers will be guiding this bank of pews, the St. Mary bank of pews, down this aisle, around the back. So all these people here will be going this way. And going up the main aisle. Come with me. These people will be coming out to the center aisle, and they'll be guided by the usher because they'll be distant one from the other. So I ask you to please be patient, because that side of the church will be going down to the back, across the back, up the center. The little portion of the St. Joseph side will do the same thing. They will go down the side, across the cry room, and up just like the other side did. Is that clear? But the middle banks of pews, no. They come out toward the center, and they'll be guided by the usher. Because there'll be only a single aisle here. There's not a double aisle. You know, like normally at Mass we have a double line? Not in the restrictive phase. We only have one line going up to communion. And so there'll be an usher in the back of the church to guide you up, the side aisle people, and there'll be an usher in the front to guide everybody in the center banks of pews up the center, okay? I hope that is clear. Your mask is still worn. However, when you come up to communion, you can either remove that one piece over your ear and then receive Holy Communion. And you would receive Holy Communion like you normally do. Let's try that. So when you come up and you receive Holy Communion and you have that one piece down, you'll be coming up and you'll be receiving Holy Communion. Step to the side, receive Holy Communion, and go back to your pew. Or if you're from this side, you step to the side, receive Holy Communion, and go back. The important thing to remember is never to walk with the host and walk away. Have you ever seen people do that? Maybe you do, sorry. But do you walk with the host? In other words, do you receive Holy Communion and do this? I hope not. You come up, stop. Receive at the altar of the Lord. You never walk and eat with the host. I'll repeat that. You never walk with the host and eat while you're walking. Never. You step aside and you place the host in your mouth. Then you can walk away. So, just as a repeat, the side aisles against the wall, they're going to be directed to go down the aisle, and around the back and up the center. Does that make sense? There you are, see? I see it on your camera. And then you go up the center. It's the same way with the St. Joseph side. You go down. Those people over there go down that way. And up here. There'll be an usher back there to make sure that there's enough space in between, okay? The guys and ladies that are in the center banks pews here, they're be coming forward. And you'll come one pew at a time, guided by the ushers with social distancing. When you come up to Holy Communion, you're going to take one of the bands off, or if you want to take both bands off, and you receive Holy Communion, amen. And then you're going to step to the side and receive Holy Communion. You're not going to walk away with the host, right? You promise me? You just stay at the altar. Receive communion. Look at Jesus on the cross. That's a beautiful way to receive communion, I think. But not to walk away with it and eat it. To stay right there. To eat and drink at the table of the Lord. And then it depends on what side that you have to go back on. Because remember, this is a single aisle. There's not a double line here. There's only one line. So please be patient with us. Please be patient with us because we have to do all this. This is all new for us too, you know? And then you just come up and you're socially distant. Remember, you're not in back of one another this close. You're like, whoop. Unless you're a family. And you could just tell the usher, we're a family. You know, so we don't have to socially distance ourselves. okay? But if you want to, that might be a good idea too. You know why? People look and they say, well, they're not doing it, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I understand that you're a family and you don't have to social distance. But if you want to do it because of the sake of like an example, that would be wonderful too. Okay, and then you receive Holy Communion. So do you kind of get the idea, the flow of Holy Communion? Now, how about if you want to receive on the tongue? No problem. Come with me. So everyone's going to be receiving Holy Communion in the hand normally, coming up the center aisle. But how about if you say, you know, Father, I don't receive our Lord in my hand. I receive him on my tongue, like I remember as a child, and I have never received in the hand, and I don't want to receive in the hand. Do I have to receive in the hand? No, you do not. You can continue receiving on the tongue. Okay? But Deacon Don is going to distribute Holy Communion to those people who are going to receive our Lord on the tongue. I'm going to take care of everyone here. Don't worry, you don't have to go find Deacon Don. I'm going to tell you how that all works. So everyone's coming up the center aisle, single file, right? And maybe it's your turn next. But you just continue moving because you're not receiving in the hand. So you have to come up the center aisle, but you're just going to bypass me. Hi, bypass me, go over here. Deacon Don's going to be right here with his towelette and his spray for himself. Body of Christ on the tongue. Deacon will wash his hands and get ready for the next person. There'll be a towelette that will be disposable, and next. And then he'll wait for the next person and the next person who wants to receive on the tongue. So what I'm trying to say to you is, you're all coming up the center aisle, but those who want to receive on the tongue, you just pass me, come over right to this piano. Do you see the piano behind me? Sorry, the Padre Pio's there, we're painting. And then you receive Holy Communion by Deacon Don, and then you continue. Now, how about if you're on the Blessed Mother side? I'm sorry, you'll get your steps in. You have to walk all the way around the back and to the side. Does that make sense? So let's say I'm on the Blessed Mother side, but I want to receive in the hand. I want to receive on the tongue. Well, you come over here, but you have to go down that aisle, across the back, across the baptismal font, across the confessional, and up the side if you're on the St. Mary side. You'll get your steps in, but so you know that, you might want to sit over here on the St. Joseph side, if you're not like, squeamish about that, because, wow, I'm getting all confused because I normally sit on that side. Now I'm going to be sitting on this side. It's going to throw me all off. There's people like that. We have our certain spot, and we don't like to change. So I just ask you to be patient with all that as we continue to navigate the plan for Holy Mass. So the beginning, if I could just remind you, the beginning, when you come to church, if you could wear the mask, and the usher will seat you, okay? He'll start you up from the front, and then he'll start working all the way back. Now, there'll be many ushers at the 3 masses. So I just ask you to be patient. There'll be There'll be some pews roped. That's when you want 2 words that can't be 2 words. They have to be 1 word. Pew and rope. So there'll be some pews that are roped and not. And the ushers know that, and you'll see that as well. Okay? No offertory procession. No really shaking of hands. If you're a family, I guess it's okay. But Deacon Don is not going to say, let us offer each other the sign of peace, just so that you know that. So if you're a family and you want to kiss your spouse, that's fine. But we're not going to say, let us offer each other a sign of peace. We're not going to say that, okay? Or Deacon's not going to say that. There'll be 1 species of Holy Communion, the sacred host, not the precious blood, okay? Remember, the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus is contained in the host. Holy Communion, that was a big thing, right? So Holy Communion will be taken and will be given. And you'll follow the directions of the ushers. Side aisles, you go back. Middle aisles, you go up. Holy Communion in the hand, center. Holy Communion on the tongue on the piano side, Deacon Don, right? Now, the ushers are going to still be taking a collection with the long poles, you know. They'll have gloves and mask on as well. And they'll take care of all that, and they'll be socially distant when they bring it up and put it away. Usually they're side by side, but not for these weeks. They'll be socially distant, okay? After Holy Communion, the exit. Now we're gonna use all the doors for the exit. Yay! Not like when you entered, you could only use the front door. The other doors will be locked, okay? But for the exit, here's an exit, you know, by the piano. By the bathroom is an exit, that's exit 2. Main entrance, exit 3. ERC room, old script room, exit 4. Blessed Mother side, exit 5. Right? So when you're leaving, please follow the direction of the ushers because you'll be leaving pew by pew. And they'll be escorting you out and socially distancing you. So just take your time in exiting out. We ask you to have your conversations outside and to be socially distant outside. We have a big property. We have, St. Mary's has 23 acres and 6 buildings. This is your parish. Enjoy it. You know what I mean? But we just want to follow the CDC and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and His Excellency Archbishop Nelson Perez. So I have to look at those 3 areas as the pastor and just see if I'm in conformity with that, okay? So we try our very best. We try our very best. And again, it's not about an obligation to come to Mass this weekend, but we're open. Because some of you may think, I don't know if I want to come this weekend. No problem, no mortal sin. The obligation is lifted by Archbishop Perez, no problem. But if you are coming, I just ask you to follow these and the directions of the ushers, okay? So we'll be exiting all the exits when we leave Mass, but you have to do it pew by pew. So please be careful. We'll be following that. The banks, the large banks, will be going out this way. See these people? Back here, they'll be going out the front door. And then these people will be going out the side doors. So wherever you're closest to, the ushers will direct you to. We want to make this as easy as possible. Easy as possible. And would you please remember that the ushers are just here to help their volunteers. You know, please be patient and have Christian charity toward all. You know, I'm sure that we'll accommodate every person the best we can, all right? So does that help you a little bit about what will be happening when we come to Mass, all right? So you might want to review this again and look at the feature page that we sent you last week about everything, but we're going to be opening public Mass this weekend, Trinity Sunday. 3 out of the 5 Masses will be public. The other 2 will be offered, absolutely, but privately. And then, would you please go on our website for the Sign Up Genius? Because in between, that's why we staggered the Masses. In between the Masses, we were asked by the Commonwealth and by the Archdiocese to stagger our Masses. And we have to clean everything, and then the bathrooms and any entryway. I think Peggy's gonna have all the doors opened so that it's easy access for you. And it's a nice ventilation, right? Because we have tiny windows, don't we? So there's not a lot of cross ventilation. So I think that should do it. And then what I'm going to do on Friday is I'm going to have a Q&A session. Sandy is going to give me any questions that she has received, and then on Friday I'm going to answer your questions. How's that? Happy Charles Lwanga Day, everybody. Bye.